Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be taking our second look through vintage paperback sales on eBay. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm always fascinated to look and see what stuff is actually sold for. Sometimes it's because, oh, I've got a copy of that. Or it's like, oh, blimmin' heck, I can't believe it's selling for that much money. I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for it. And I think that's the fun of this. It's finding stuff that you don't know was actually worth that sort of money, and either being surprised or, oh, blimey heck, I still need that one, and then disappointed to see what it's actually going for. There's also some nice job lots as well, so there are some bargains in here, but on the whole, these are books that have sold for perhaps a little bit more than you might expect, and definitely ones to keep an eye out for. If you have enjoyed this video, I do intend doing these every, say, 4 to 6 weeks or so, and I will try in future videos to cover a few more of the classic vintage American publishers rather than it being a bit too British heavy. Anyway, I do hope you like what you find today, so sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Right then, so we start with a very expensive Penguin book. I believe this is the highest that a single Penguin title has actually sold for. This is Cutthroat by Christopher Bush, obviously a very rare wartime crime title, not exactly in the best of conditions. The seller describes it as very good ++, near fine. I dispute that somehow. I've seen much better wartime Penguins than this. But needless to say, it is a massive rarity, and I'm just delighted it's not one that I need. But yeah, it's certainly not as nice as the guy was describing it as, but it is super rare. £750. I think that's a record for just a single standalone Penguin, a non-signed one. Another very, very expensive sale here, £400 or best offer. So we don't really know what this one sold for, but I would imagine over £350. It's Penguin number 6, which is Agatha Christie's The Mysterious Affair at Styles. No dust wrapper, a mottled, dirty cover. I can't believe this is sold for this money. Absolutely insane. Unless it's an Agatha Christie collector. I mean, they don't often come on the market, but I've seen several over the years. Pen and pencil marks inside. 350, that's just incredible to me. But there you go, someone obviously really, really wanted that one. And Penguin 61. This was the very next Agatha Christie in Penguin, and the last then until the mid-1950s, so Murder on the Links is the title. Admittedly quite scarce, I'll give them that, but even so, £263. Once again, no dust wrapper on it. Seems very, very expensive to me. Now this is a bit more like it. Half-Mass Murder, a wartime crime title. This is genuinely scarce. There's not a lot of these around. Published during the war, during the Blitz. Publishers, printers were getting bombed. Very, very scarce Penguin crime title. No more than 30 or 40,000 would have been printed. £160 that one went for. Similar story with this one. Murder in Hospital. Same time period. I remember getting my copy of this one at a boot sale when I hadn't long been collecting Penguins. 160, that one. Dying Alderman. This is went for 120. Slightly earlier title. Very early wartime. Still scarce. Still more than I would think it would go for, to be honest. Another one that turns up fairly regularly. 3 Hunting Horns. Seen a few copies of these. Not in the greatest of shape there, as you can see. The staples have rusted. Very thin wartime paper. 120 again. This is quite nice. This was a lot of King Penguins. Went for 90 quid. not bad if you're a starter collector, although condition wise they don't look fantastic, but these books are just great for their content. Condition is secondary. Still after just one for the set myself, and then I shall fill my collection. But very, very nice series of books to collect. £89, that's not bad for that. Couldn't quite understand why these two penguins, numbers 99 and 100, Worst Journey in the World, went for so much, like 70 odd pounds, and they're in actual penguin reading cases. That's those like blue cases there. They're really nice. They've got the owner's signature, not the author's signature on the left flyleaf there. Once again, these were issued with dust wrapper, and the dust wrappers aren't present, but they have been protected over the years, so they're particularly bright. Book about Scott's journey to the South Pole. £71 for the pair. Not bad for that. Haven't seen one of these in a while. This is the first paperback edition of The Hobbit, which was published by Puffin. A pretty nice copy of this, and there was just a little bit of a spine split down the bottom near the Puffin logo there. But apart from that, it looked a pretty nice copy of this one, to be honest. It does turn up if you know to look out for it. I've had 3 through my hands. This one certainly wasn't bad. This is on a par with my own one, I would say. It's got a name inside on the first page. First printing, 1961. £50.89. I put this one in, Panic Party, another scarcer title. Not perfect, but not bad. I put it in because it sold for $49.99 on a buy it now, and it's one of the 8 that I still need for the first 1,000 in first print, so I was a bit gutted to miss out on that one, because I would have paid 50 quid for that. This was a nice little collection of 8 early 1960s Simon & Maigret titles. I really like the design on these, and I think I've pretty much got them all, right back to the, all the Penguin Simonons I've got, and there's a lot of them. £35 that went for, so I'm planning a video looking at those. One of my favourite, in fact, it is my favourite King Penguin of all, Life in an English Village. This one went for £33 by the artist Edward Baldwin. Now, sometimes you get this where you are not able to zoom in on the photos, and that was the case with this one. But I hope even just looking over the little small illustrations, you can see just what a lovely book this one is. Absolutely gorgeous. This was fun. This was a collection of Mad paperbacks, 21 of them in total. And these were early 60s and 70s ones, and you can tell because they've got the New England Library circular or oval sticker on, and it was only the early ones that had that because they weren't being printed locally. These were American editions in most cases with a UK import sticker overlaid on them. That's how you can tell that these are early editions, and they were in particularly nice shape. So I would have had a punt of these, but I forgot when the auction was finishing, because although I've got a nice run of Mad, there was about half of those at least I don't think I've got, and I like to buy them in bulk. £46, that was alright for those. This is the first of a few James Bond lots. Now this was particularly nice because, barring Octopussy, these are all the original covers at least, and I'm imagining that most of these are first editions. Not perfect, but if you've not got any, this is a great way to get your collection started. Certainly Casino Royale and Moonraker were the highlights there, and both of those look pretty good condition wise. And that little batch didn't go for that much, actually, less than you might think. Yeah, 221. That's not bad for that. This was interesting. This was a set of all 15 Professionals books, the TV tie-in. These used to be 2 a penny back in the day, but now they're, you don't see them very often. It was nice to see them as a full set. They actually on the surface look pretty good, except every single volume had the previous owner had written sort of like his own series episode titles and things like that with the page numbers. Every single book was like that, so they were all spoilt inside, which was a shame because on the outside they didn't seem too bad. There's an example of it. So all 15 books, so nice to get them in a set, but because they're damaged, £22 is probably about right. This set I regret getting. This was a run of early Hodder and Stoughton and Pan Saint books. Absolutely outstanding condition. Just superb, and there was quite a few, particularly the Yellow Jackets, that I've not got. I've got all the Pans, but these were even just such nice copies. I would have been able to upgrade some of mine. It was a beautifully laid out lot, every book photographed. He didn't go into details about the printings, but even so, these are really, really nice editions, and I do regret once again missing out on the end of this auction, so I couldn't have had a punt, because I out of everything that we're going to see today, this was one lot I really would have liked. Just top quality copies. They've not been through the second-hand market. These are obviously bought from brand new and kept. And that little lot did not go for, well, I think they've gone cheap, if you ask me. All of those in those beautiful editions, just £77 plus the postage. I think that's a deal. Just looking at them again like that, absolutely fantastic. Great lot, that. This is interesting. This was a lot of Agatha Christie's, and there's a couple of lots that I feature, and I only will show these in job lots if it's predominantly early editions, so sort of early Collins, Fontana, Pan editions. That's exactly what these are. There's lots of Pan and there's lots of Tom Adams covers, which I love. A few of the earlier Fontanas. And a few odd late ones in the odd film time, but on the whole a really nice vintage lot. Even a few penguins there as well. 50s ones. This is just how my mum's collection was when I was growing up. She had a real mishmash of different books from different editions from different publishers. An instant Christie library and really nice editions to read them to as well, which is what I love doing. I think the current Christie covers are awful. And that little lot, there was a few odd hardbacks as well. That lot upside down. Amazing when that happens, isn't it? But that little batch there, quite a lot of books, was just over £112. This is a director's edition of Dr. No with that lovely jungle cover. And you see Vernon Hunt there down the bottom as the director in question. This particularly nice copy of Dr. No went for just over £100. Incredible money for this. Absolutely incredible. For the 4th printing. It's more than the first edition would go for in that shape. £100. Another nice copy. Another director's edition. This is Diamonds Are Forever. Bit of spine roll on that one. 4th printing. Same seller, $26.95. That's about right, I suppose. This is reputed to be the hardest one to find, Moonraker, in the director's edition. Once again, a pretty tidy copy of this one. Not perfect, but nice. Nice spine. Seventh printing. £101. This is another particularly nice lot of James Bond books. Just a really nice set. And if you wanted a set to read in vintage form, this sort of fitted the bill. The Dr. No is the scarcer edition there, but it's not the director's one. It's just a scarce cover, the jungle cover, as I call it. As you can see, well above average condition. Very, very nice. This was a lovely little batch of the Frank Frazetta books. There's 4 in the series. This was the full set, being sold on eBay by a charity. I've had a look through a couple of these. I don't own any, but I've had a look through them, and they are beautiful. And as I'm sure you know, Frank Frazetta is famous for his high fantasy works, but he did lots of book covers, lots of Conan, that sort of thing. They're just fantastic. What a great artist he is. And this pulls together all his work, and they come recommended. And this was the full set of all 4, which is rare. I see odd volumes turn up, and they go for like between £20 and £30 a pop. Yeah, ones to keep your eyes out for. £79 they went for. This is another lot. Now this is really interesting. Once again, I do regret not going for these. It was a bit of a mishmash, but there was some 70s and 80s horror. There was some nice movie and TV tie-ins. There was a bit of men's adventure in here as well. A real mixture of stuff, but once again, this looked like it was an original owner. These had all been bought from brand new. They'd not been through the second-hand circuit, so they weren't read to death. These were nice, high-grade copies. A real mixture of stuff, but there was enough in there to think, oh, blimey, I wouldn't have minded going through some of these. And there's a few little gems as well. A couple of the John Gardner James Bonds. There's a Fury in there. I don't know if you spotted that one. Nice copy of Jules. The Drums of Dracula. Very, very scarce one, that. New English Library. Vampire Tapes. Oh, and all 4 Starsky and Hutch. Well, that sold it, didn't it? That was about £122, that lot. This was interesting. This was the 2 UFO paperbacks by Robert Miles, aka John Burke. Pretty poor copies, these, but what made them special was that they were both signed by Ed Bishop, Commander Straker in the series. As you can see, tatty old copies, but rare to be signed. There he is. Sadly missed Ed Bishop, great actor. My favourite Jerry Anderson series of all is UFO. Brilliant. These are 2 original Penguin bookmarks. So these came out in the 1940s. These were designed and purpose-built by Beavis and Tapley to fit vintage Penguin books. You could get them with stands, sort of feet, or they could be wall-mounted. Very, very scarce to come across. I do know one chap who's got 6, but I'm still waiting to come across them at a reasonable price. I'd love to have it just one. This pair were up for £750 all best offer, so I don't know what they actually sold for, but they sold. Another very, very nice run of vintage Agatha Christie's. This one went for just a touch over £90, and that actually was a bargain because it contained the all-important And Then There Were None, which is very much in demand and sells for good money on its own. Very nice vintage lot. 53 of the books in total for £93. As I said, one of them would be worth that alone almost. This was just a one-off. It was a nice movie tie-in for the Pink Panther, the very first movie. £20 that one went for. Another nice J.G. Ballard here, The Overloaded Man, a Panther sci-fi book. It's again very, very nice copy. It's £15. Quite scarce. Nice first edition from 67. Yeah, £15 that one. Now we've got a few Badger books. These are all from the same seller. Obviously they came across it or inherited them. These went for much more than I was expecting. So those, like 6 supernatural ones there. Nothing special. Very, very low grade. All by Robert Fanthorpe, £80 that sold for. You've got 5 more here now. Must have been an original owner collection, I guess. £70 for those 5. Here's another 5, slightly later supernatural ones. £60. Then a batch of another batch, some earlier ones and some later ones, different seller this time. 9 in total, 1 duplicate. 2 early ones there on the left, top left corner. They're quite scarce. Hardly the greatest of shape. Old, pulpy and mouldy, foxed, 50 quid. Quite a surprise. This is scarce. This is The Man from the Bomb. This is a badger I've not got. In fact, I don't remember even seeing this one before. Definitely scarce. Certainly one to keep your eyes peeled for. £45 that one sold for. I expected this one to go for more. This is legendary scarce, this one. Very, very scarce sci-fi book. The Thing from Another World. John W. Campbell. Big in sci-fi back when this was published. Yeah, scarce little book, but not in the greatest of shape. And that does affect price quite a bit. But 160 that went for. This was very good. Never seen one of these before. This is, I think, the second ever published story by Stephen King. Startling Mystery Stories. And this is like a little late 60s digest. The Reaper's Image, there he is, by Stephen King. Very, very nice copy of this particular digest. Look at that spine. Perfect. 150 or best offer. This was interesting. This is one of those sort of 70s Fontana box sets. This series, the Fontana Book of Ghosts, or Ghost Stories rather, is getting quite collectible now, along the lines of the Pan horror stories. So if you see them, and because of their black covers, they're not going to turn up in great shape, grab them. The box sets are equally scarce. £65. Another early Stephen King. Well, fairly early. This is the first complete edition of The Stand. So it's not the first paperback, but it's the first complete edition in paperback. It's the US paperback, published by Signet. Huge, huge book. This one looks unread. Sold for £33, that one. This is quite interesting. This is a early 70s, late 60s Pam book. King of the Witches. June Johns. I can't believe it. Illustrated as well. Look at it. Quite funny. And as I've said before, subjects such as witchcraft and drugs and the occult, highly collectible, and they will always sell books on those subjects. £33 again. This is a bit of fun. Conga. This is a US monarch. Dino, and I just picked it up because I'll pick this one out because I just like the look of it. Nice copy of it as well. Conga. £33 seems to be the price, doesn't it? This was nice. This was a nice 70s edition of Ubik by Philip K. Dick. Another Panther SF title. Pretty nice condition, that one as well. Pretty nice spine. Got the price penciled out on the back, which means that's been through a dealer, but £33 or best offer. This I couldn't believe. This is easily the best copy of this book I've ever seen. Lust for a Vampire. It's the Hammer movie tie-in, the British edition by William Hughes. Look at it, perfect. Slightly faded spine, but apart from that, perfection. Very, very rare. £33 seems cheap. I would have put, if I had that, I'd put 50 quid on it. This one's great. I've had a couple of copies through my hands. This is a nice digit, the Bilko, Sergeant Bilko joke book. Collected by Bilko fans, of course. Quite obscure TV tie-in, £22. This is a Beacon SF novel by Brian Aldiss, The Male Response. There's about 12 in this series, which were published by Sleaze publisher Beacon, but as a Galaxy SF reader in the States. That one went for £20. This one I've not seen before. This is another digit, The Amazing Mr. Lutterworth. Really nice sci-fi jacket on that one. Desmond Leslie. Not seen this one before. But I've only got about half the digits that were ever published, so there's loads I'm missing. $30 that one went for. This was nice. This was another digit, but one that I've not seen before. It's a Saint book, Saint Meets the Tiger, but look at the state of it. Fallen to bits, but it must be rare because I've never come across it. And amazingly, even in that condition, it sold for $28.99. This was just nice. This was a nice late 60s digit horror, The Grip of Fear. Vern Hansen. I think it's like a best of all short stories by Vern Hansen. Another one that I don't think I've got in my collection. $24.95. This was a surprise. This is Hero Quest, which was like a game, a bit like the Fighting Fantasies. You played it with dice and you recorded your progress with a pencil inside. These are early 90s, published by Corgi. So 90s, £125 for those three. This was another shocker. The three Logan's Run books. The first book in particular is in right state, 30p in pen on the front. But the other two are a little bit scarcer, so maybe that's why these have sold for what they went for. But I didn't think any of these were particularly scarce. But this trio of the Logan's Run books, 60 quid. More than you would expect. This was nice. This was the run of Louis L'Amour. I couldn't see many early editions in here. They just seemed like mid to late 70s, early 80s copies. British editions. They're published by Corgi over here. And they are nice. The Corgi editions are really nice. They still feel a bit pulpy. There's the real classic, Sackett's Land, a brilliant book. I don't mind a bit of Louis L'Amour. I only started reading him a few years ago, 2-3 years ago, and what I've read has been really good. What a great writer. 50 quid for that lot. This was interesting. This was the Atlas of Pern. This is Anne McCaffrey's world. This one went for £51, and it wouldn't let me zoom in on it. It's the reason this one went for a little bit more. It's signed by the author, not by McCaffrey herself. But one to look out for. Even unsigned ones go for a few quid. This was quite nice. This was a lot of James Hadley Chase. These all went for $49.99 for this little batch. Really like the cool 70s jackets on these. Not all first editions, but just evocative of the time, shall we say. 50 quid, not bad for that lot. This was unusual. Corgi title, I Am Alive, Kitty Hart. I think she was a prisoner of the Nazis during the war. Certainly not in the greatest of shape. Look at that, the bottom of the spine is really hammered. But a scarce book, one I've never seen before in my travels. £40 that went for. This was nice. This is the movie tie-in adaptation to The Thing, the John Carpenter movie, written by Alan Dean Foster. Not one I've got. £25 that one. This is nice. This is Cooking with Vincent Price. Cooking Price-wise with Vincent Price. This one does turn up, but because it is Vincent Price and that black cover makes really nice copies very difficult to find. I think this one went for about £25, and these are worth picking up in any condition because they're scarce. Who knew, eh? £30 that one. This was nice, never seen this before. This is the movie tie-in adaptation to Quadrophenia. It just says now a startling new movie, but it doesn't actually have any stills from the film. So I'm guessing this one came out a little bit before the movie got released. Else they would have put that really nice famous quad of the stars on there. Once again, I remember this one as well. I used to have, I think it was the Dracula one. And this is like a very early graphic novel of those two classic stories, Dracula and Frankenstein. Really distinctive sort of style of artwork, very late 70s, early 80s. These don't turn up very often. £20 the pair. This was incredible. This was the movie tie-in adaptation to Superman 3, but it was an advanced promo copy, sold for $120. No other details on it, but scarce. This was just nice. This is a 60s one, Confessions of a Part-Time Hippie. Look at that jacket. Fantastic. I always pick up stuff like this because, once again, a bit like the witchcraft and drugs and stuff, it's a saleable subject. This one was just a gorgeous gold medal. Lovely condition. Big City Girl. Charles Williams. Absolutely lovely title. And this was a Hemingway. The Sun Also Rises, also known as Fiesta. Love Cult, another great one here. This is a Harry Whittington. Just a classic 60s title. So here's a batch of 3 Investigators titles. Alfred Hitchcock and the 3 Investigators. Nice little run of these. None of them are the originals. These are all later reprints, but maybe they're quite hard to get. But those 20 books there sold for, well, what was it, £145? Oh, and next we've got Lone Wolf and Cub. Now this one was £799, all best offer. So they've accepted a best offer on what is one of the very scarce Lone Wolf books. Then finally we've got a little batch of some of the rarer fighting fantasy titles. And these have gone for their usual high amount, including number 59, Curse of the Mummy. And there is that last book. £415. Incredible. So there we are. I hope you have enjoyed looking through those eBay books today. Certainly some interesting and some very expensive books to boot. If you have enjoyed today's video, don't forget to give it the thumbs up. Do please consider subscribing if you've not already for regular vintage paperback content. And I shall look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.